Tina, welcome to Soundwave TV. We're backstage at Soundwave Sydney with a few legends of heavy metal, if you will. Alex Skolnick of Testament.
More of a leg end.
Leg end, if you will. Ben Weinman of Dillinger. Now, you actually introduced these guys at the Metal Masters. How did you meet?
How did we meet? I'd been hearing about these guys for a while.
Played together in Poland.
Yeah,
That was the first time. I was a massive fan forever. Just mesmerized by his solos and riffs. Something different about these guys, you know. When I was listening to all the thrash bands, there was something unique about these guys. Just something tasty about the note choices that really struck me. And then to hear later that he was doing all this jazz and stuff like that, it totally made sense. And so when we met in Poland, it was I was really honored to be able to say, hey, dude, what up?
Yeah, we had this great talk in Poland, and we realized, we're both sort of, off the beaten track in this scene. Yeah, we like a lot of the other bands, but we also like to do stuff that's
Different.
We're different. We have different tastes, and we sort of connected on that. And that was the first time I heard these guys play, and so totally dug the show. And great musicianship, and also one of the most high energy shows I've seen. And it's a little scary.
Right next to me, I kicked something and it almost hit him, and then I was like, oh shit, no! It's all about free inhibition. You know, it's about cathartic. You know, trying to not think too much and just not be held back by the conditions, but
just feel it.
It has nothing to do with any. Yeah, like we would do the same thing if there's one person there, or 10 people there, or 10,000. We would put the same show on, so it's not really relying on the crowd.
It's like a bunch of rhythmic gymnasts working together.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I think it's, you're a different person on stage than you are off. I think for most of us. I know it's like that for us. We don't go quite as crazy as these guys, but if you don't know us, you might be a little scared or intimidated, but every now and then there are people that don't separate it. We were actually on a plane with I'm not going to mention who this is, but somebody managed to get himself arrested upon arrival.
Come on, tell us who it
I can't
was.
say. I'm not going to.
Come on.
It is one of the bands, and they did play, but it's just
tour.
yes.
Ooh, topical.
Very, it was
It
just
wasn't Phil, was it?
Huh?
It wasn't Phil, was it?
No.
It's just, not that I would think Phil would. Not that Phil would get arrested in a bad way. He's just, he lives beyond the law.
Right, exactly. That's what.
Follow him around and just hear him talk all the time. It's humorous.
He's a bit of a poet.
He is. He's a poet, and he knows it.
What was the first solo you guys both fell in love with?
That was probably something on a Michael Jackson record, because that's where I grew up in the 80s, you know. So.
The Beatles. I think I always liked the solo from Taxman. And I found out that wasn't even George who played it.
Really?
It was one of these classic arguments. Paul kept telling him how to play it, play it more like Clapton. More like
Paul played it?
And Paul would say, more like this.
I was going to say, my favorite guitar solos were always Paul's bass lines.
Oh, yeah. I just one of those things, I think, George threw down the guitar. If you know how to play it, why don't you bloody play it yourself? Paul's like, oh, all right. I will.
He played half the drum beats on those records too, for all we know, yeah. So.
Do you know what Otis said yesterday? He said the Beatles and Helter Skelter invented heavy metal. What do you
I
think?
agree, that's a...
100% agree with that.
It's true.
I'm glad it's a consensus.
I mean, there's full screaming in that song.
Yeah.
More screaming than most bands who scream, like full-on screams in that song.
Oh, and the tone. I mean, it was like...
dark, rhythms going on.
I think that, the Beatles, they had a foot in every genre in LA.
Getting it from. I mean, they were so prolific and there was so much going on during that time in such a short time period. I don't know where they were pulling from all this stuff.
7 years, it's a really short time.
Yeah, exactly.
So who are you guys also keen to check out?
I just missed Iota's Murder, who's good friends of mine. I think they're a great young band that's going to do great things.
You've been out in Summer Slaughter together.
Yeah, exactly. Who else? I mean...
It's very hard to see all the bands, because the stages are far apart. You play, you can't see who's right before you or who's right after you. I would have said Living Color,
Dude, me too.
except I just saw them in Brooklyn. That was
I've never
great.
seen them.
Neither have I.
We covered Cult of Personality for a tour, actually.
That's excellent.
And it was funny. Our fans were kind of confused by it.
And
But we covered that song. It was great, and I'd love to see them. I saw Mastodon yesterday.
I want to see Mastodon. We were at a show. I think it was an Alice in Chains show.
Oh yes. We were both in New York at a show.
Yeah.
We sat next to each other.
And that was the first time I saw Mastodon.
Wow.
How could it all be? We've never been seen, we've never won.
Did you guys ever make a record together? Yeah, I think you should. I'm just putting it out there. Let's make it happen.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, we're both East Coasters. I'm an East Coast transplant.
Yeah. Got there, you're from Jersey.
Jersey.
And
Connection.
we were on the same guitar company roster now.
ESP guitars. We both just
You got a fellowship.
release signature guitars
Yeah.
with ESP, so it's exciting.
What's it like when you get your first signature guitar?
You probably had one for long.
I actually never did. I never did back in the old days. There was the guitar I used to play, this red Ibanez, and people thought that was my signature guitar, but it was a stock guitar. And if I was, you're doing a lecture on music business, right?
Well, people thought my first signature guitar was a guitar with duct tape all over it and pieces of wood falling off it, falling apart. They're like, wow, you make it like that? And I'm like, every night.
And this is something like I wish I had known more about business back then. You know, I was like 19 years old, but I would have made them, this should become my signature guitar. Do something different. Because they have sold a lot of those guitars.
Based on you.
Thinking that it's mine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what's with that?
I sold a lot of duct tape.
What's
Actually, our YouTube channel is named after Chuck Billy.
No way.
And everyone's like, you're really losing a lot of promotion by not calling it the Dillinger YouTube channel. I'm like, we don't care. We need to honor him.
What's it called? You call it?
Before I knew you.
You called it Chuck Billy.
It's called Chuck Billy Totem Pole. That's our YouTube channel. Because he's like an amazing, massively impressive Indian who keeps it real and uses half a mic stand. And this is before we even knew each other. We were such massive Testament fans. We called our YouTube page Chuck Billy Totem Pole. And it's still called that. We refuse to change it. And labels are like, you have to call it Dillinger Skate Line. And you're like, people don't know how to find you. We're like, it doesn't
Tough.
matter. We don't change. That's an honor. And he's so nice. And then when we met him, we were like, it would have sucked if he was not nice, you know, because we like name our YouTube thing after him.
But Chuck is Chuck.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful time and one day make a record together.
All right.
Rock and roll. Take it on board. In the future one time. Just say that.
Copy of our record.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like that. Started right here. This is Soundwave TV.
Soundwave TV.